So what's up, everybody? Welcome to Sunday night quantum study session. We're going to go over a lot of the basics tonight. We've got a lot of new crew members, a lot of new quantum gang members. We're going to go over some little basics. So what we just witnessed right now, we just saw the 5-minute level break over here at 422. So a 5-minute level can only be broken by a 5-minute candle, right? Same with the 1-minute levels, right? 1-minute levels can only be broken by a 1-minute candle. So now, next, that 5-minute area got broken, right? If it stays below 420, next area we can see tested is this 400, this 1-minute level down here, right? We're going to go over just the basic levels. If it breaks through 400, next will be this little pocket at 83, 50, 80, 385, 25. Now, if it manages to crack itself over 20 again, right? That level that formed that got broken is still an early break. So if it pops over 420 again, it doesn't make that 420 area invalid still, but it's at the early stage of a break. So currently it's still pulling itself down, now making its way to the 400. And we want to see reaction at these areas. You want to wait for your action lines to start curling and showing respect at these levels for a potential trade. If this is your system, look here. What is it? Whenever I join live streams, now I get no volume. Yeah, make sure you got our volume. Yeah, you got to make sure that our particular volume is up for each individual. You've been in the gold short since 5:42. How could you get? Wait, oh, you're probably your time zone. If I'm like, how can you get in the trade before the market opens? All right, there's a little bit of a bounce off that 401. Still slightly weak. That was not much of a bounce. That went from 402, so about a 5-6 point bounce. I want to see my line start curling here if it's going to respect down here, but not yet. 5-minute is testing this whole 5-minute candle at 405 as well. This could be a psychological level, a bunch of stuff here at 400. It's not looking horrible, but the 5-minute is giving a strong push that it wants to stay under 405 potential. But if it can stay above 405, over 400, this is what I look for when I'm looking for a potential trade. I want to see this candle hold around here, and I want to see the action line start to flatten out and start to give me that bowling shape, this curvature up that leads to the potential A++ setup, right? But I love it when it's around levels. Still not, right? You saw it started, right? This candle, this next couple candles needs to start pulling up, preferably above 408. If this thing starts pulling up above 408, it'll start looking decent. I want to see it start pulling the action lines up. All right, now it's respecting this 400 area, but it's not looking super strong. So I want to be patient here. Each time it bounces at 400, it doesn't look very strong. Okay, this one looked a little bit better. Nope, big pull down. Not yet, futures, not yet. I want to see this candle hold above here. I want to start seeing that bowling shape on my action lines. There's a flat lining. Okay, I'm kinda eyeballing this next one to close above 405 will be nice, but if it starts pulling up, it's not bad. It's not a bad area. This is a very small risk if you want to decide to try to play that or break under 400. It's very low risk. This is giving me that fly line, but this is what I want to see right there. There's the hook. There's the pull up. So that wasn't a bad risk. Literally just breaking under 400. Let's see if we can get some more. This needs to hold. Here's where this is where these hooks kind of come into play. This needs to start holding above this top line, this 407, to give us that level formation. But the entry down here wasn't horrible. As soon as I start pushing up, there it goes. I did enter it at 408, so I'm up 5 points. I'm almost to 10. Give me 1825. And I'll have my 10 points right there. It's close. Don't like that pullback. Come on, right there. It's right there. It's teasing it right now. All right, there's that crossover. Here's what I'm looking for, but it did not give me. There it goes. There's my 10 points. Boom, easy. All right, that's one of the basic setups for Quantum right there. You got the exact same entry I swapped. Let's fucking go. Now my runners. Yep. Now I got my runners running. There you go, guys. Beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Level hold. Curling on the action lines. Boom. This is what I do. There's your blue candle. There's your signal, right? That's your confirmation. Right there. I got 5 micros running. This is an eval. I'm up 100 something. Already got 1 runner out. I got 3 runners left. 2 runners left. Now 1 left on that little pullback. I started trailing it closer. And I'm happy with that. Very happy with that. There you go. All right. So, very simple, right? Patiently waited. Wanted to see this 400 held. I saw the action line start getting pulled up. Then it started looking good to me. Stop loss was 400. Break of 400. Very simple setup here. This is what you want to wait for, right? The cross happened below. So this is where these entries are key, right? The entry below 410 would have been best, of course. You don't want to enter on this buy signal here that happened afterwards for a couple of reasons. One, the cross happened below, okay? So the cross happening below makes this candle a little bit vulnerable because the levels love to get tested, especially when they're recently created. So if this decides to pull back and test that level, it's a failed bullish move. The blue candles are our bullish candles. Vice versa. The purple candles are our bearish candles. So one of two things, right? We just had a big pull down. When there is a move, there tends to be consolidation, right? Range. So I am in the expectation of we're eventually going to have a little bounce, right? Little scalp opportunity. And then we may start to potentially range. Okay. So this entry right here was just curvature of your action lines, hold of a level. That was it. Very simple, right? Now, the second entry, the second point of potential play would be candle closure if this was an A++ setup. This is not an A++ setup. What is an A++ setup? An A++ setup is when the cross happens inside the body of the candle, like here and here, right? It can happen behind, it can happen inside. Those are the two preferred areas for it to cross. If it crosses in front, it tends to make it riskier. Okay? Because when it crosses in front, the move tends to be already in progress. So the ideal setup is when it's crossing center-wise or slightly behind. That's what I want to do. Okay? So those are my 2 favorite plays. Third favorite, actually, I got 3 favorite plays. So we got your levels, level holds, right? Following your guidance of your lines. You got the A++ setups. And then we have what I call the advanced reads. Okay? The advanced reads are very, very simple. The advanced reads is just a test of the level attached to an A++ setup. So just like you have here, here's your A++ setup, right? Buy signal, cross happened inside the body, slightly behind. If we draw the level that would have been here, like right there, the level would have been around here at 449. So this big candle I know is going to be contested, right? It's large, slightly larger than the previous. There's a chance for it to be contested. Normal entry on an A++ setup is candle close. So 58, right? The stop loss on this would have been 42.50. So about 16-ish points for a stop loss there. I like to see if the pullback happens because there's usually a good pullback on these larger size candles. And now your entry could potentially be around here, around 48.50, right? If you have sniper fingers, you'll get that little lower entry. Most of the time, you'll get around the middle area, 50, 51. Your stop loss is still 42. So you just dropped your risk slightly. Depends on the candle size, what you want to play. I like to use these for lower risk potential plays. Usually I look for 5, 8 points when I'm looking for an advanced read play. I got trailed out on that runner on that pullback. And then, and retesting 400 again, looks like, all right. And then I look for entry here, and I look for potential bounce, right? I'm looking for the bounce. So here it occurred twice. So it occurred once, bounce, and then it tested it against and bounced, and it gave you that push up to that little area before it gave that push back down. So these are my second favorite set, or this is actually, if I were to line everything up with my favorite setups, right? The level play that we just did is number one. Number two, advanced reads, low risk, right? These tend to be the lowest risk, second lowest risk. Sometimes you'll find very low risks on advanced reads. The third are the A++ setups, just a basic A++ setup, but preferably around an area of interest. The area of interest could be orb, right? If you use fibs, or any other areas that you may use. So currently, right, if you are a seasoned quantum user, you can already see what occurred here, right? The next setup, right, we went over 3. There's multiple little setups you can use with quantum. There's the fourth setup. The fourth setup is the range. The quantum range is very, very simple. We actually just witnessed one play out here. The quantum range is when you have side by side blues and purples in a range of a price, right? So these are back to back in the same little price range. So knowing that my purple is bearish, right? This is going to be my bearish candle barrier. My blue is bullish. This is going to be my bullish hold. This would be my little range. And as soon as this blue gets broken, right? Broke right here. I like to wait for a retest. Didn't give you much of a retest for it to hold and then potentially continue its merry way down. Failed bearish move, right? Almost exactly what I was saying, what could potentially happen. On a big pull down, you tend to see a little bit of range, right? Then you have your next little area of potential play. And there it is, right? Breaks that little range that it formed. And there's your move down. Now it's contesting 383. And those crosses, right? The cross that happened below here, your action lines are pretty much not even close. I would not be playing anything around here for a bounce off these levels. I'd be patiently waiting for potentially down this area now, if it manages to get down there. Let's see what the 5 minutes looking like. All right, so 5 minute did break that bullish candle over here. All right, and it is pushing down. Okay, my favorite time frame to enter is the 1 minute. 5 minute are my favorite secondary time frame to look at NQ. I use both to give me guidance. 1 minute for entry, 5 minute for potential hold for continuation push down. Right. The only thing here, let's look at where this 5 minute crossed over here. This 5 minute over here crossed at about 6:30. Let's see what was happening here around 6:30. Okay, it was giving you a slight crossover here for a push up and then flipped over here at around 6:25. So once this area over here at 513, where you had this original crossover, broke back down, right? This area over here, the level would have been erased because the level would have been formed right there at 613. This candle broke through it, erased your level, but once it pulled back down, that 13 level basically is still valid. Okay, I hope that makes sense to y'all. So if it's a recent level that got created and immediately got broken, then immediately got reclaimed, meaning this level got created over here at 13, broke immediately, gave a push, then immediately pushed back down, and it could not break back above 13. So once I saw this, and I see this 5 minute also giving me a curl down and a potential level push down, it's a stacked level, just you're not going to see that 13 over here because the level did get broken. But this is your 1 minute and 5 minute lining up. So you have to be a little bit aware. You have to have a little bit of situation awareness on what's occurring with your action lines. Obviously, this is also before a volume push with the market opening as well. With 7 p.m. Sydney opening gives some volume push there. Okay. So this 5 minute gave you that sell signal, right? The 5 minute gave you the cross above the candle itself, so would have made it slightly riskier. You did have a slight contention of the purple candle about halfway twice, both times it failed to push any further above 480, and it gave you that little push down into the open, right? Just like you'll see it here, right? This one's slightly better because the cross did happen inside. 35 could have been your entry, right? Your stop loss is about 30 points, so a lot more, but your push here from 34, about 60-point push up. So about 1 to 2 RR if you look at it as an RR thing. If you held it for this push, it would have been even more, right? Again, my trading style, I'm a scalper. I'm not going to make these kind of big plays on these big moves all the time. I might have a runner catch it, but you'll see the 5 minute, if you are patient, you will see a lot of decent opportunities on the 5 minute, right? Your 5 minute gave you as well the advanced read over here, right? If you have that level that formed at 28 over here, gave you a test once and then gave you a test again, right? It did push up above the stop, but as soon as it came back down, that level held, and there's your move down. Okay, so anywhere, as long as it held below 34, you would have been okay on taking this potential little short here for that push down for a good, like, what was this? If you got in at, like, say 26, that's still about a 30-ish point move right there with about less than 10-point risk on a 5 minute advanced read. 5 minute advanced reads, again, just, it's a level hold. It's a level hold. So you're combining what you're reading, right? That's all we're doing. What we read down here earlier before we had that little bounce was a level hold. You waited for that level to hold. You waited for that push up. Same thing here. You watch your level form. You wait for that level to hold, to push down. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. I am recording this one today because I think it's like, in due time, I think it's good to kind of revert and go over the basics and answer some of the basic questions and have it like fresh up in the channel at least. Okay. So those are the 4 basic quantum setups right there. The level play, the advanced read, the range, right? You got your quantum range, and then your EMA, kind of your action lines. I keep calling them EMAs. They're action lines. They're not your regular EMAs. So you got A++ setup, level play, your action lines giving you your guidance, and your quantum ranges. Okay. All right. Let's erase this. Where did it bounce off? 56. Oh, did it get that? I thought it would have gotten closer down here. All right, let's see if this starts pushing above that 83 again. This needs to push back above 83, this 5 minute to hold this area and potentially form a stacked way up, right? Because right now it's trying to break here. So let's see if this can break over 83.50. There's your level at 75.25. And if this can break through over 83.50, it'll hold this level. Hopefully, if it breaks over 83.50, it can stay above it. And we should get a good push coming up, maybe. And this is the secret sauce of quantum. Potentially get some retracement on this guy right here. All right, this purple candle that got left untraced, no wick, no nothing. There's a chance that it'll get up there, but there's no guarantee it'll happen right now. It's just a potential to see if it breaks through 83.50. Let's see how hard it can continue to push up. It has to hold above it. If it cannot hold above it, then we're going to have more push down. All right, this 5 minute has about a minute left. And there are times when there's more volume, right? When I'm narrating during power hour, where I'll say if this breaks back over here, right? This is a good example of that, right? This 5 minute level is getting contested. If it breaks back over here, there's a good chance to give a good push up. That's where I scalp. Sometimes I'm in it for 10, 12, 15 points at a time when there's good volume. It's happening again. So breaking through 83, there's a nice little 5-point push up, right? Low volume Asia, 5 points during Asia with lowish volume. It's like 10 points during New York. And we'll see if it can keep pushing up and break through 97.25 next. Or if this thing is just going to hold below on this last 30 seconds. All right. So one thing I want to make y'all know, right? I do not like playing in the middle of nowhere, right? This cross happened over here, but I'm not near a level. I don't like to really play these. Some of y'all degens like to, and that's okay, as long as you're aware of your stop, right? For me, if it broke that 75, I would have gotten out of it. There's that push right here. You go. See, reclaimed 83, slowly pushing up. how much room do you have to 97? There you go. Right, there's your 10 points. Boom. There's what it hit, 96.25. This is your area for push. And this is like what I do when I narrate Power Hour. It's not anything outside of what I'm already reading with Quantum. Literally everything I narrate, I'm narrating what I'm reading with Quantum. It's very simple, right? This 5 minute can continue to hold above 83.50. You might start seeing the 5 minute try to pull up, but it needs to continue to hold above 83.50. If not, you know what's coming. She ain't gonna be ready, and we might see 47. But this can hold 83.50. This is your potential start for a 5 minute push up, but this is still not bowling up. Look at the 5 minute, right? Still pointing down. I want to see this candle start closing, flatlining, or start pulling up a little further. You need to see it start breaking up. Let me get rid of this blue line over here. And then you need to see it obviously break over 97 and a quarter. Okay. You're trading solo, Sudro? All right. 35-point dump just now. Definitely want to rewatch this. Good shit. All right. You mentioned the advanced read. Could you go over the entry on that again? Yes, the advanced read, your entry's the retest of the level. So the retest of the level, right? Like here's one that formed beautifully at 645, right? So your entry is anywhere. The level would have been right here. I'm going to redraw it. Where this blue line is, this is where the level was. Your entry is anywhere around here. Your stop loss right down there. Okay, right down here. Entry anywhere around here. As long as that level holds, you have a good chance for catching a bounce. That's it. Very simple. That's why advanced reads are my favorite. They're super duper simple. Super low risk and super simple. And they have to be attached to an A++. They have to be attached to an A++ for them to be a proper advanced read. Okay, keeps challenging the 83. You see how it's really fighting the 83 area. So when I'm reading Power Hour, like this 83 area is a major area for me right now. All right. So you said you don't like to trade open. How long do you wait for the market open to find a setup? Usually about after orb is formed. Once orb is established, I look for the room in between, and I like to see where the levels are based around where the orb is. So that's what I wait for. Just the opening is just, it's good for like evals, but it's very rough if you're going to trade a funded account. You know, you got to really like play pure market structure, pure level reading. If you can catch a really clean, maybe 5 minutes signal, that's not very risky, because sometimes these 5 minute candles appear and they're huge. So you have to kind of be cautious. But opening setups do present themselves every once in a while, right? So back under 83, back, you know, you see where it's like slicing itself back and forth. So it's 83 is almost like the midline to these two levels over here, 75 and 97. Obviously, it's got a little more room. It had a little more room to push up. This 5 minute has about a minute and a half. Let's see if it pops itself back up or not. So the opening, I'm not a big fan of like 9:30 opening. Like I'll watch it, I'll listen to Max and them if I see something with them, and then I'll take it on the eval. But I don't like to trade my fundeds around there. Are you waiting for the 5 minute action line to really indicate strength? I look for the 5 minute action line direction, right? If the 5 minute action line is pointing down while my 1 minute is pointing up, I'm not going to take a trade because they're not lining up. It usually tells you that there's indecision and the price might get stuck in an area. You might start seeing range. I love when it's a wide range. Obviously, you guys know I play wide ranges. But when it's a tight range, I'm not a big fan of those. Like right now, it's kind of in a tight range between 83 and 75 and 83 and 97. Obviously, it's got a little bit more room if it pushes above, but it's in a very bearish stance with the downtrend. With the uptrend got broken, so in the meantime, the longer it can stay under 83, can break 75 and a quarter, the more chance we have of testing this area down here. All right. How do you know when a purple blue will form? You don't. You don't, Matt. Tom. You don't know exactly when they're gonna form, but you can anticipate where, right? Usually, if you zoom out, you'll see where they form, right? They usually form in the ranges. They don't form mid move. They form at the pauses, and the action lines, especially when you have like levels around them, right? You can bet your sweet little behind that there's a good possibility that a blue will form on the way up if it's a good setup, if it's a good level hold. So that's a part of just kind of trusting the process and going with it and getting that confirmation. It doesn't always happen, but there's still always opportunity for low risk potential play entries, even if they don't always play out, right? Part of the process is to lose. You're gonna lose, right? But you got to be picky with your plays. Look for the low risk entries, right? Don't go in for like a 25, 30 point stop loss play and go in heavy expecting it to play out immediately. So that's where you have to be cautious. So there's our first colored candle in this area right here. So that 83 did break, but it's still kind of remember, if it just broke, doesn't mean it makes it completely invalid. It could still kind of hold up, and it could if this 5-minute pushes up and it starts getting back over 400. It could form a new one, a little bit higher. But right now, the 75 is what's holding. You got 97 as its barrier. You don't see that solid line, Oscar? Are you on MNQ or? Make sure you have your settings correctly for the time to SR, 5 minutes, and then your max points. I mean, I have mine to 50 because I only want to see a tight level. I only want to see it tight. So it shouldn't be burying it much. But right now, the 5-minute level got erased, so it's no longer there. Our closest one now is 347. All right. So now we have our purple. The only problem with this is that this 87, this blue candle got broken right here. So this blue candle is no longer valid because this purple did break it. So I'm going to hold off to this level and that purple right here. So there's definitely more room down now if this can't stay below that purple. But if this is where we're going to have our little battle happening, we might see a new blue coming up soon if this 5-minute can continue to hold over 75. But if this does not, breaks under 75, we're going to push down some more. The action lines, yeah. So they're not regular EMA lines, CC. I've called them EMAs because they act pretty similar to them, and everyone knows EMAs. So I called them that for the longest time, but they told me to stop calling them that because they're not your typical EMAs. So I have to call them action lines. So orb midline for the orb indicator. I don't see that solid line. I don't have the orb on. I only have quantum on right now, so I don't have anything. All right. I'm gonna go over this because this isn't something that's super new. I went over this on the last couple study sessions, and we just witnessed this again, right? When the trend is down and you see a failed bullish move, the trend continues. I went over this on one of our previous study sessions, and it happened again, right? Your blue candle got broken by a purple. The next candle closed below. There's your confirmation. This is an entry possibility here on a continuation play. Your stop loss would be the breaking candle or the purple candle, whichever one. And there's your move down, right? Broke the level. You had a few confirmations, a few confluences for that potential little pull down there. And this is just a failed bullish move continuation. When you see a blue or purple candle, right, if it's an uptrend and you see a purple candle get broken and it can hold above it, continuation usually continues up. We went over some of this on the last couple study sessions. That's something I think if you are early on, it will be important to understand, right? Reading these particular candles, I don't look at all the other candles in between. I'm waiting for these guys to appear. These are my main guiding candles. Everything else in between, I don't really care about. These are the guys I care the most about. And when you start seeing them appear and you start playing off of them, you start seeing potential chances everywhere. All right. When you use orb, Is it just for levels, or do you use it in additional confluence to enter a trade? Like for the A++ set up for orb or bottom. Yes, yeah, exactly like that. That's exactly like what you would use it for as a confluence. You wait for the A++ setup to show up either above or below, right? If it's rejection at the top of the orb, breaking through the mid, that's exactly how I use it. So I use it as an addition, but I also obviously orb is king. If I have quantum levels at the bottom of where orb formed and above, I have a good possibility that it's going to either reject or it's going to sit and float in there, and I'm not going to play like a orb break if I have levels hanging out. So you have to be cautious. But I use it just like you explained, like the A++ setups at the bottom or the tops. I use it as an additional confluence. So Alaskan, we have the advanced orb that gives you like signals based off Max's strats, right? They're real-time signals, but you have to play them real time. Like they'll just confirm. Like if it's a 3-bar breakout of orb, it'll confirm, oh, I played it correctly. If you know the entries and everything, you'll get that. The short is still shorting. It looks really good. 47 will be next. You'll get like that indication of, oh, okay, I'm reading it right. That gives you that extra, the extra education that you need for it. It does reversals, things like that. It's really cool. Like if people want it to feed you like signals, but if they use it correctly, you will master playing orb with that indicator. And obviously you have a bunch of other orbs to play with. But beautiful move, continuation down, right? Failed bullish move. All right. Yeah, and Swab, you're right. We got the free one up there as well. You got the free one that maps up the 930, 945 for you. Okay, and if you premium traded me, we do not check that box. Yeah, if you have premium, you don't need to check that box. If you have premium, you could check it. It's for the seconds time frame anyway. So if you don't, it's by default it's checked. If you have premium, you can uncheck it. It's meant for the you could see the 30-second chart, right? Let's go to the 30-second. Max was showing off the 30-second chart on, where he was trading it, and it gives you a lot of decent sniper entries, but you have to kind of have a little bit more cojones to hold, right? Like this sell signal would have gotten you stopped out, and then it gave you that continuation play. You had your range, you had everything here, right? Nice little buy on the 30-second. The 30-second gives you like the lowest risk entries, right? 87. Even if you entered, and it does everything works out the exact same way, right? You got advanced reads, you got everything. Once you see the blue, the buy, as long as this holds, right, you could enter that candle closure at 94, 86 stop loss, less than 10 points, and gave you that nice push up. But everything plays out the same. Just be cautious where it crosses. Obviously, crosses in front, the move's already happening. Crosses in front, move's already happening, right? Crossing in front, big move happening there. But you can see the ranges, right? There are just a lot more of them in the 30-second time frame, but you can see them all over the place. But they play identically, right? Here's your break, right? You can see right here, if I draw the range on the 30-second, there's your range, there's your break, there's your retest candle, there's your stop loss, right? 94 entry, 86 stop loss, there's your little move, and you could do this all day on the 30-second time frame. Blue, purples, right? There's your kind of violent break, no real retest, just a violent push down. You'll see these all over the place. All right. Sometimes these are all you need, right? Retest is just a break, never really retest, broke back in. There's your break, retest, go, right? These are the ones I like, the break and retest. I just personally love those. All right, purple, blue. All right, there's your break, your little retest, your little push, kind of kept retesting and then formed a new one. But then again, right, what happened here, right? Failed bullish move. There's your move. Just happens on repeat over and over and over again. And it's always those two same candles. Same rules apply. Right, you're just going to have a few more snipe opportunities here and there. All right, as long as the blue holds, get a move. Here's your level. Here's your bowling, right? Here's your bowling. Everything you need, the exact same things. Right down here, same exact things. Bowling around levels, Bowling around levels. All right, you see it? Bowling around your levels. That's on the 30-second. So it's the exact same setups. All right. Oh, look, we made it down here to that 37 area. For breaks through this is all from Thursday. So next will be down here. This is all low volume levels. So you have to be cautious. These are from Thursday, 7 p.m. And then next will be down here, Thursday, 11:58. Until we manage to get maybe over here. But that 5-minute signal played out beautifully. Failed bullish moves, one after another. All right, we have two. We have one here, one here. Still a strong downtrend. This is just melting through everything it did Thursday and Friday right now. Only 5-minute signal here. I'd be patiently waiting for that 96 area. If it breaks through 96, whew, it's got a lot of room. So we're down 140 points from this 475 area, which is wild. All right, I'm gonna read some more questions. And if you have the premium, okay, hi. Oh, I just got back from the casino. Bronco. Okay, I bought and took Llama's course, but I love your style of trading. These scalps still work towards getting funded. Should I take Max's class to align more with you, or what you recommend? You can take Max's course, right? I teach. If you ever decide to go the route of the one-on-one, I go over the specific max strats that I use, right? I go over them with you in detail, as well as you get to learn the sauce box and how I play the sauce box and stuff like that, in conjunction to that. So I go exactly over, because, Max gave us the blessings to kind of go over what he, goes over, but I specifically go over what I use. I do a lot of SPX reading. When I'm reading New York, the morning stuff, I do a lot of SPX reading like he does. And SPX quantum signals and stuff like that, right? You can use those on NQ, right? If you see a level on SPX, you don't see a level on NQ. We went over that one lunch. We had one lunch session. I'm going to try to do another one of those where I kind of got to show y'all how I read SPX, right? Oh, SPX at a level here, NQ did it. But if SPX respects this level, we may see NQ start to reject, and it did. But I go over in great detail, things that I go over, that I use on Max's. Yep, it's testing that level and it broke through it. All right. And I want to add that too, Alaskan, because you're a Llama student, and I can confirm you're a Llama student. I go over exactly how I use this fibs with you, right? I only go over that with anyone that's a confirmed Llama student of mine. When I have the one-on-ones, I go over exactly how I use this fibs as well with what I use with the boxes and my levels. Since you scalp, how many trades are you taking in a day? So I take about 4, I want to say 3 to 5. I want to say about average is 3 to 5 per account. And I trade 5 to 6 accounts a day sometimes. And if I'm bored and I just want to have fun, sometimes more. So I try to kind of stick to around 3 to 5 per day. You took 3 scalps so far, Scarface? I mean, there's opportunities. There's been this downtrend's been holding, failed bullish move. It's been good. Even some of the initial level bounces. I'm liking how exactly CC when the fibs line up with quantum. I always send Llama kisses. I always send him kisses. He always sends me kisses. Okay, so where I find that I have the issue is that I get stop loss before the real move. So on the retrace, I get stopped out. Then I lock in a loss before the move. Any advice? How do you get over or past that? So where are you looking? What setup is that based off of, Future Wizards? So what is that? Is that a range break setup? So Future Wizards. So what I want to ask you and everybody, every single one of you that are in here, and every single one of you who are going to watch this later on and listen, post all your losing trades that have to do with quantum in the quantum chat. Please. I love to break things down, right? Because that kind of question is hard to answer without an example. Because if you screenshotted the exact plays where those happen and you post them in there, I'll break them down, as will other students or quantum users that have a good understanding of what they're reading, because it helps them too. We have a couple of them. I think Kathy is one of them who posted everything. She took it to heart, right? She's the one example I love to use because she's the one that did this the most, and she's been killing it because she posted every day. I took 5 trades today, 2 losses, 3 wins. I took 3 trades today, 2 losses, 1 win. And she asked questions. So I entered here, blah, 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 blah. And do you see what I did wrong? And we would answer. Like sometimes it would be me, Sam. Sometimes it would be others that would answer. And obviously Sam started getting better just answering those questions as well. And then I would chime in and I would say if those answers are good or not. Because sometimes, right, if you answer a question and you think you got it right, and then I come in, well, not necessarily, you could do this, 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 this. We missed this. There was this over here. Then you're like, oh, yeah, I missed that too. You're right. You know what? You're right. And then now 2 people are learning off of one example. So that's something that I really, really advise. Like I'm very active in that in the channel. Very active. I look for screenshots. I love to break things down. So please, right, don't get embarrassed at losing trades. We all lose trades. I lose trades. All of us lose trades. You're going to learn what to avoid, right? You're going to learn what better entry might be, or maybe your stop loss was too tight. Maybe your entry was good, but your stop loss was too tight. So there's other things, that might help from that as well. It's curling, but there's no levels around here. Next is down here. 5 minute is not ready yet. 5 minutes still violently pushing down. Seriously, yeah. Will you call out with or not it's a good trade or gambling? Like on the setups, I mean, if you're seeing a setup, right, it's not necessarily gambling, but sizing is important, right? If you're going in with like 4 minis, 3 minis, 2 minis on like a 10, 12 point risk play, I mean, it's not horrible on a 10 point with 2 minis, but it's still like, you don't like my thing, the way that I do things, I don't want to lose an account in one day. Like I want my account to stay alive for multiple days. I've brought back accounts, like I've had evals where I strike out like 2 days in a row and it's like minus 300-400, right? Which isn't even bad on a 50K. And then I bring it back to life and I pass it in like a few days after that and I end up passing it. I'm like, okay, versus buying that eval and then the first day you're down 300 and you're just like, fuck that eval. And then you just YOLO it and then you blow it. So that just depends on you, obviously your sizing, but I will let you know if you're taking a trade at New York Open, it's pretty gambly at that time. If you don't have a clean setup with clean stop losses and everything. But I'll let you know, like I'm very honest with the setups. I tell you exactly what I see, and I try to go into detail. Can you? Yeah, I mean, I have the settings in the they're pinned, right. I have trading views, so I don't have that check mark. 1 and 5. None of this matters over here. I don't have the table up. If you don't want the table up, all you got to do is hit that right here. I don't have it up because I have my multiple screens up. I only use it if I'm on a single screen. That's the only time I have the table up, because I want to see what the next time frame is doing without having to flip back and forth. If I have the 2 screens up, I don't need to do that. My DOM is starting to go crazy down here at 310. This 300 area is finally speeding up. The max points, this depends on how far down you want to see levels. If you want your chart to look a little cleaner, drop the number down, right? You won't see a bunch of levels up below. If you want to see more levels, just because I want to see where there's room up and down, you could put this to 500. And then, let's see. We should see some more levels populate. If they're not near here, there you go. Bunch of levels populated, right? Right there, right? But if we're not close to those, I don't really need to see it right now, right? Volume's low, maybe 100 points will be good. I only want to see what's in my vicinity for potential scalps. And then let's go through more, right? And then your default settings, right? So this is your colors. You could change to whatever color settings you like, right? You can make your blue candles yellow if you want, right? You can make your purple candles black if you want, whatever you want to do. Then you have the next area, right? You have your, this is what your signal settings are. So you want to make sure that these are checked here for your signals, and this should be default. And then in the pinned messages, there's a nice little detailed pinned messages over what everything else does. I don't use any of it. It filters out really good signals sometimes. You can filter out, chop. You can filter out if it's downtrending on some. But I used to mess around with it, and it would give you a mixed bag of results. And I like to see the basic A++. So, the other part, actually, there's one part of this. The max bar since trigger candle for entry and the max bar since signal cross for entry. These both should be one, right? Because I look for within one cross. That's my criteria. Everything else is just, you can make your label small. You could change your buy and sell signals to Hakuna Matata if you want, right? You could do whatever you want there. So, transparency, this is how bright you want to see your cloud. If you want it to disappear completely, 100, and it'll be gone. Right, cloud will disappear at 100. Give it a little second to load up, and then it should be gone. Boom, gone. Right, so you don't need to have it there if you don't want, and I will actually go over how I use that next, now that I'm on that subject. All right, so the way I use the cloud, I mainly use it when I'm looking at the 5-minute trend. The 5-minute trend gives me how deep a potential shot up to like 363 would be that middle ground for the 5-minute, right? If the 1 minute is pretty deep as well, right? The 1 minute is up at 335. So where it currently is about 20 points. If it wants to challenge that, if it breaks that, right? Breaks that 1 minute downtrend, there's a good chance it's going to test that 56, which is the second area, which lines up with the level up here, right? That's how, like, the little kind of area you can use it. I'm not really always looking at the cloud, other than when I see a strong downtrend where I don't see, if you go up from up here, right? This is where the break originally happened, all the way up here, right? 6:30 p.m. There's your break. It gave a little challenge right here, right? Where it broke and it challenged the second area, and then it failed. The downtrend was still holding. Reclaimed the downtrend, gave another attempt right here, right? Could not break through the deep red. Still strong downtrend. That happened again. Tested that little center over here, strong downtrend, very strong downtrend. So there was nothing here that I would be like, looks like the long is going to eventually happen. No, it was just, this is just looking weak and weak and weak. And right now we hit that 300 area. It's kind of floating here. I'm still going to eyeball my 5-minute to see if my 5-minute may decide to finally hold down here at this area. Because you got a triple stack over here too. You got 94, 96, and 301. So this whole area down here, but let's go back and look. These levels were formed again on Thursday. Right, super low volume day. If it rips through that, 242 will be next, and these were formed Wednesday at 1040. So if it does rip through that, there's more volume around these levels, and there may be other levels below, but it's too far to even populate those yet. So I'm not going to be interested in anything below that at the moment. But this is how I use the trend cloud. That's how I use it, right? Broke up here at the 5-minute, right? And this is where some have used it this way. I have not, because I am not patient enough to hold this long, where they'll get in the short on a break of the cloud and they won't get out until it breaks the cloud again. I'm just not patient enough. Like, if you got in on the break over here at 431, you'll still be in it down here at this point until it breaks back above 362, right? That's for like these swing traders or these guys with big cojones balls like Llama that can hold a trade for more than 5 minutes. The DOM on Tradovate is called the Super DOM. It's basically the price action. Yeah. So that's what the DOM is, Alaskan. So far that 300 area has been holding. It's bounced a couple times, right? If I was on an eval, I'd probably be testing each bounce until it broke 300. But I'd be cautious. Each time it kind of pulled down, you got a 15-point pull up. You got about, you're getting good, decent push-ups. If this 5-minute can continue to pull through and we can get a push over 346, then you may say that attempt at 360. And that's just pulling. You want to see it start pulling up your 5-minute action lines up to form a potential level. All right. So you mentioned you go heavy on evals. Yeah. So in evals, I go 6 to 9, sometimes 12 micros. Sometimes, and when I'll go heavier when I have a buffer already, but I always have my stops and everything in play. But I always start with like 6 on an eval. Yeah, Violent came back to push 308, and look at that Violent push from 308 back up. So this is where I'd be degen on an eval, and every time it pulled down, I'd be like, bye, 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 get the hell out. Pull down, bye, 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 get the hell out until it broke this level. There's our first bluey. But that's not something I recommend y'all doing until you're comfortable with the flow, because I don't go heavy. Like, I just mess with it with 3 or 4 micros at a time and just keep adding and trailing, and then boom, pulls back, right? And then eventually, if I do it 2 or 3 times, then I stop, because each time it challenges it, it tends to get weaker. I want to see what this 5-minute can do here in the next 5 minutes. What time is it? 8 o'clock. Okay, 8 o'clock volume came in. 8 o'clock volume came in. So be very cautious here. This is Asia Open here. This is going to try to cross down, or is going to pop itself back up. Yeah, goes back up. And now it's getting violent. Now my dom's starting to go a little bit crazy. Ooh, yeah, she's going crazy. All right, here goes. There she goes. I caught that with 2 micros, just because I was like, just let me see. I don't like to trade opens, but I'm going to eval anyway. So, and then out. Look at that. My runner got trailed out there. That's it. Just real quick. Just added like $60, $50. Oh shit. I gotta lose money on this account. I didn't realize. Oh my god. I was working on an alpha advanced eval, and I went in. I went in on the short on the 5-minute, and I completely forgot I was in on it. I was like, let me just see, and I just made way too much money. I gotta lose $800. Hold on, guys, before this thing uploads, because if that thing uploads on this, I'm gonna get that freaking. It's gonna make me make more money. I don't need to make. I just need to make 2,000 on this. Oh my gosh. All right, need to lose 180 more. $42 more. That was it right there. Boom. Okay, I'm good now. All right. I completely forgot I was in that. Oh my god. Where did my M and Q go in here? M and Q. Oh, okay, it's kind of squished in there. That's why. Getting rid of you, because I don't trade NQ, so you're gone. M and Q. You're gone. All right, there we go. Wow. Okay. Well, that was I guess that trade, I just saw it. When I saw it, I got out of quick. I got in at 73 on that account with I don't even remember what it was. I just got out of it fast because I was in quite a bit. Let me see where my orders are. Orders. Position history, is that going to show me? All right, I don't want to get stuck in too much on this. All right, well, that 300 area kept holding. 5-minute. This 5-minute closes above here. It's going to start kind of curling up a little bit more. It's going to look like maybe 300 might be the stomping ground. Holy shit, I got in at 74.26. Look at this. So I was scalping this eval earlier, and then I had 37 contracts on that trade, on this eval. The stop loss was like above 85 or something. All right, let me shrink this again. Wow. This was purely based off that 5-minute signal right up here. That was purely based on that pull back up. My stop loss was right above. Yeah, I completely forgot about it. All right. Yeah, I mean, if it stopped me out, I would have been fine because I was already like I was so close to passing it already. But I'm okay with if I have a stop loss on an eval, if it loses out, it's okay. It's an eval, right? It's end of day. I was already pretty green on it. Um, but I had my stop loss in place. I just forgot to look at it. Yeah, drop dead. It is funny when you're going back and forth, like in, out, back and forth. All right. All right. So, any questions so far for the newcomers on what the A plus plus setup is, right? How do you play the range, all that fun stuff. Like this will be uploaded on the YouTube channel later. There's your curling on your 5 minute. This continues to hold above here. This I want it to stay above 310. This you want to see it start pulling up above 324 though. It's not ready yet. I wouldn't say go yet. I want this to start holding above here. Remember, this is still a Thursday level 2, but I want to start seeing it curl and I want to start seeing it hold above this top line. And that'll tell me it's ready to kind of push up a little bit. All right. Awesome, Ben Morris. I'm glad it was helpful, brother. Maestro, for the A+++ setups, can you talk about stop loss a bit? I noticed some signal candles it will be like a 20-point candle, yet TP are like 5 and 10 with runners. How do you tailor your trade to bigger candles? I size down tremendously, but the majority of the time, when those stop losses are that big, right? When they're that big, I don't enter unless there's a retest of a level. Even if the retest of the level is still big stop loss, I only test it with a couple micros because if the market is moving that much, if it's that volatile, the chances of those two micros hitting 20 plus points is very high. Okay. And this is on funded accounts. I play a little bit more aggressive on evals, right? On evals, I do play a little bit more aggressive. So if I make, let's say it's a 20-point stop loss and I'm like, you know what? It's a very volatile day. I'm going to go with two micros. I see it pull back and it gets close to my stop loss, and I'm always going to respect my stop loss, but I'm going to be like, you know what, it's really close, and if it's going to hold, what's potentially going to happen, it could push back up. I'm going to add two right here just to see if it pushes back up. Still respect the stop loss. I'm in with only two micros at first, right? I don't go in full size at that kind of a drop or that kind of a risk. I was going light, and I leave room for some DCA. So I do DCA on occasion, right? And that's based on the levels. That's based on that little pullback that you may see sometimes. But that's always advanced reads only if it's an initial play and then a bounce back to retest. But that's, again, right? I don't ever go in full size when it's that risky. Just don't. It's 20 points risk and it's volatile. You're going to probably get 20 points really fast in the blink of an eye, where you put your stop loss and then you're going to look at your chart and you're shit, I'm already up $80, $90. You start trailing immediately. All right. So the 5 and 10 points, again, right? That's a personal take. The 10 points is the main target. The 5 points is for me. I'm an emotional trader, right? I have anxiety issues and I want trading to be fun. So for me, I do 5 points for risk reduction. Once I hit my 5 points, it eases my anxiety, and then I let the rest play out. And sometimes I don't get the 5 points. Sometimes I get stopped out, but I always look for the risks to be within 15 points. That's it. 10 points is always the main TP. The runner is usually what collects the majority for me. And again, right, the way that I size and I risk, I have to lose 15 trades in a row to blow an account. 15 plus. Okay. And that's just a personal thing, Nova. So you can do whatever, you could use ATR. A lot of guys use ATR. You can use ATR, right, to kind of gauge your TP. I just do what's worked for me for a long time. I have no reason to change my routine. I've shared it with everyone. It's not a secret. I do it for Power Hour. It works for me. It's very consistent for me, and I just stick to it. I have no reason to change it. 5 points is 20 ticks. Yes, CC. Yeah, so DCA is dollar cost averaging. So if like I'm in a 15-point risk trade, right, and it drops 8 points and I'm down by 8 points, and now my risk for a new entry is 7 points, right? If I'm only in with 2 micros, because it's at the higher side of my risk, I have room to add. Dang, that thing is melting down. All right, look at the. Okay, here's another thing I want to kind of mention here, right? Your action lines crossing down, potential push to breakthrough levels when they're that close. So this 303 level, right? This 303 area right here, really close to this. That was what it needed to kind of give that little push. Still downtrending very hard. So again, this 5 minute, right? This is why I'm patiently waiting for this 5 minute, right? If there's potential push down here coming, that's great. So now if this overtakes 303 again, there's a potential that it might pull itself back up. But for now, it's still holding a downtrend, still looking very pushy. Now it looks like it's failing that retest of that break of these levels. Let's see how much of this wick gets filled or if it's just going to push itself back over. So anytime you see something like this is where I'm cautious with, oh, it's going to hold the level. Not if your action lines are potentially going to form across down. Now you have a level of 303, 296. So now let's see if this decides to flip it here. 5 minute level is the strong level, or if it's going to continue to, like rejecting right there and holds above this. But this is where I'm going to be cautious, because now the 1 minute and the 5 minute might start lining up. If it breaks through 303.50 and this 5 minute can continue to hold over that 296, this is where potential lineup could happen. But not yet. Needs to break that 303.50 and hold above, and then the 5 minute needs to also continue to pull up above. All right. Gold is 10 ticks for 1 point. Yep. Javi's gold TPs is different. Yeah, gold TPs are different. So for me, I do with just the 1 levels, the 1 minute, right? 1 minute area levels, I do 1.5, which would be 15 ticks and 20 ticks. With the stack levels, I do a little bit more. I go 25 to 30 ticks. Just because stack level formation gives you a little bit push. And we're going to go over stack level formations on the next study session. Like, I don't want to overwhelm. I want to keep these kind of like a little tighter. I want to keep these like a little tighter over what we're seeing, over what we're kind of go over, like the basics, like the basics. Which option puts the price line in the part in the settings? You were showing which one would add more. I don't understand that question, CC. Which option puts the price line on the chart in the settings? Like the lines that here, like this little up here, the cross, maybe that right here. I'm assuming it's this that you're seeing, where hopefully that's what it is. I don't have the 296.25 solid line. If you're on NQ, if you're on MNQ Alaskan, you might not have it on MNQ. MNQ slightly differs. Unfortunately, MNQ has some little differences. No, the actual level lines on the chart. Oh, like how do you get the levels to show up that close? You will go to the settings, and you will go to where it says right here, label offset. I have it set to 15. So if you push it in a little, if you like want it to be closer, you drop the number lower. If you want it to be further, you push the number higher. So this label offset. Let me see what the 5 minute is doing. 5 minutes trying to hold above this 96, and now it's pushing back above 300. It needs to hold above 305.50. All right, let me see. Oh man, Alpha is so fast with their things. They already passed my account. All right, let's see if it can continue to hold here, if this is going to be our new little range area. But this did break. It did break, right? It broke the level by the tip. Okay, tippy tip is not a good break. Let's see if this is another failed bullish move potential coming in. Not yet. Has to close below it. 11, 10. Nope, not yet. Wants to pull itself back up. Has to close below. If not, let's see. Looks like this might be the range spot. 5 minute closed above this level as well, but barely. Oh. Okay. That was a quick 10 points right there. Just very quick. All right. 5 minutes getting really tight. This is not looking too bad now. But I need to see it hold and stay above it. It's just getting very, very violent here. I have 3 micros in on this at 358. I'm going to have my stop loss at 90. I just want to test this out with 3. There's another blue. All right. See if we can pull above 310 over here. There it goes. All right, I'm up 10 points on this. Got trailed out on 1. Got 2 micros left. Just want to see how if this 5 minute will continue to hold up. It's pushing above that 303, that 305 area. I want to see if it can continue to go here. There it goes. There it goes. There you go. There you go. Beautiful. I'm up 16 points right now. I'm gonna let one runner run. I'm good. I'm good at this. I'm good with that. I'm gonna let it run by 5 points. I don't care if it pulls back at this point because I want to continue with what we're seeing here. Right here's your curl up, heavy curl up, blue candles on the 1. This was I was liking this. Just bullish candles, pulling up above 305. Just very simple. There it goes. And oh, that pullback trailed me out. Okay, whatever. I'm good with 15 plus points on that. Okay. This is a 4 level 4 hour. There you go, CC. Look at that. So you also have a 4-hour level here. So there you have other confluences there for you. Look at that. See, this is how you can use other confluence. Right? If you had a 4-hour level there, that's your added confluence, CC. It failed Asia Orb too. There you go, Trina. Look at that. All right, and I didn't have any of that. I just liked what I saw in the 5 minute, and I liked what I was seeing here with the blue, the bullish candles holding above 305, and I was like, not holding above 305. It broke above 305, but I wanted to see it hold down here. I got my entry was like at 358 or something is what it said, and I only went in with three micros on that, and I held all 3. So I got 10 points plus on all 3, 15 points plus on 1. And if it keeps going, it keeps going, right? For me, I'm happy with what it takes. So you guys can keep holding if it keeps going. Like, you could hold the runners. There's no reason not to at the moment. If it keeps going, this is 5 minute level could potentially form a continuation push up, right? This is where you could do something like candle by candle. This is where something you could do with, like, you could trail by 10 points. But that's even an entry point at the break of 305 over at 309 was still gotten you 15 plus points. And look where it's rejecting right now. This is where I would be cautious if it's still holding the downtrend, right? With 338 and this got to 328. So this kind of area on the red, where it could give you some pullback. But as long as this continues to hold over 310, 305, preferably on the higher side, this will form a new level over here. This 5 minute crossover here. Yeah, CC, like that's, yeah. You have to combine multiple time frames to get like nice clean reads. Like I used to do this just reading one time frame, but I wanted to know what the next time frame was doing. Like I wanted to know, but when you have the 1 minute and 5 minute action lines lining up, it's almost like it's free. Nasty wick on the 4 hour. Rejection at sauce box. All right, Scarface. Let's keep Saucebox on the down low. This is quantum session. I don't have the sauce boxes on, so I can't see it. I'm going a little naked on that. Saucebox is a major confluence of mine. Oh, okay, CC. I misunderstood the question. So how do you get more levels? Looks like Drop Dead answered you. Awesome. All right. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go watch my Redskins get killed probably again. Well, we have a bunch of injuries, so I'm not expecting much from us, but it's still, still football team. Still my football team. Still watch them, still cheer for them. Um, but, my son's been waiting to watch this game with us. I hope y'all kind of pick some stuff up. This will be uploaded on YouTube either tomorrow or the next day. Got to comb it over. This was just nice little basic, A++ setups, things like that. Got to see a couple of them. Got to see some, failed bullish moves on the downtrend. Nice little couple level holds, right? The first one earlier on. Now we got to watch another one play out. And I hope all this stuff helps, right? We do these every week. I'm gonna try to sneak in a second one. This week might be tough. I have a busy week this week. But if I can, I will. If not, next Sunday we'll do this all over again, and we'll go over something else. Have your questions ready. All right. You see, I'd like to read over and scum over as many questions as possible. If you guys get into trades and they are losses, screenshot them, post them in the quantum chat. We break them down, right? We don't leave you high and dry. I want y'all to learn this. Everyone should be able to narrate and read the way I do in Power Hour. If you have this, quantum is all I'm reading and narrating. Setup, stop losses, everything's in place. So every single one of you, hope you have a wonderful night. Trade safe. Be patient. Okay, we'll see you guys tomorrow during Power Hour, and have a wonderful evening. All right. How do you take partial contract out of a move on TradingView? You might have to watch a video on that. Save me, please, because I do not trade on TradingView. I trade off to the Trade of 8 Dom. Llama has a video, I think, on that if you go into his channel. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Saucebox is in the coaching ads, yes. Saucebox, it's its own little thing. I go over the Saucebox strat and everything. Like, there's a whole its own little unique strat. You can do intraday Sauceboxes and stuff. It's this whole thing. It's his own little unique thing. Absolutely, Scarface. I enjoy every second of this. Yes, I am recording this one, Trine. This one is recorded. I will be uploading it. All right. All right, everyone. It was a pleasure. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.